A dirt bike's compression is one of its most important specs. What does it mean when a bike has low compression, and what should you do about it? In this post, we'll explain everything you need to know about compression on a dirt bike. Well, first of all, I didn't know what it meant when a dirt bike has low compression, but I finally did some digging, and here is what I found. Startability concerns are frequently linked to a lack of compression. So what this actually means is that the dirt bike won't start, because there isn't enough compression to do so. But why does this happen? Low compression happens for two reasons. The piston rings are worn, or the valves are not sealing properly. So if you have low compression, first check the valve clearance on the bike. If that checks out okay, then it could be that the piston rings are worn. In that case, it is time for a rebuild or a new engine. So what happens if your dirt bike has low compression? Well, you can keep watching and find out. What compression means for a dirt bike. So basically, compression is the amount of pressure that's created when the piston compresses air and fuel in the combustion chamber before firing. The compression ratio is defined as the volume of the space left after the piston has completed its travel compared to its initial volume. It is usually measured in one-cylinder engines, measured in inches squared, CI, and in multi-cylinder engines, measured as a ratio, or in decimals, x 8.5.1. So the larger the compression ratio on a dirt bike is, the more efficient it will be because there will be less fuel left over. As we said earlier, if your dirt bike has low compression, it will not start. That's why you need to find out what the problem is as soon as possible. How much compression should a dirt bike have? This depends on the type of engine your dirt bike has. If you have a two-stroke engine, then there should be around 105 psi. If you have a four-stroke engine, the compression should be around 160 psi. If you have a two-stroke engine, there are three different types of low compression problems. Not enough oil. If your dirt bike is not getting enough lubrication from the O-ring or piston rings, it will have less compression. Check your oil levels before trying to troubleshoot other causes. Worn-out piston rings. The compression on a dirt bike with worn-out piston rings will be reduced because of high blow-by. If you find this, it's time for a new engine. Low compression through the whole RPM range. This means that your O-ring or piston rings are damaged and there is no compression at all. If this is the case, you will definitely need a new engine. If your dirt bike has low compression, then it won't start or keep running. It might be that there is not enough oil in the engine, two-stroke, or that the piston rings are worn out, four-stroke. Either way, if it's time for a rebuild, then you should consider buying a used dirt bike. Low compression and its effects on the bike. There are several different effects that low compression can have on a dirt bike. The first one is that if you find your dirt bike has low compression, it won't start. That's why it's important to troubleshoot the problem and solve it as soon as possible. Other effects include reduced power. This means that there is not enough pressure behind the piston to push it out, which means that you will not be able to go as fast as you could on a higher performing dirt bike. Rough idling. This is when your dirt bike has low compression and it's vibrating more than usual. This happens because there is air leakage around the valves or rings, and it's usually caused by shoddy engine work. Excessive smoke. This is when your dirt bike emits a lot of black or blue smoke, and it can be because you haven't changed the oil in a long time. If this is the case, change your oil regularly to avoid excessive smoke. Or there might be some other problems. Engine overheating. Low compression could even cause your engine to overheat. This is caused by the extra stress put on the piston, which might warp it if nothing's done to fix the problem. So what happens if your dirt bike has low compression? Well, you should check out all of these symptoms and figure out what the problem is. If you're not sure how to check your dirt bike's compression, then ask an expert for help. That's the best way to make sure that you actually do find out what the problem with your dirt bike is. How to adjust the compression on your dirt bike? Normally, most dirt bikes have adjustable compression. This means that you can change the amount of pressure in your piston so you get a higher level of performance. This is most useful if your dirt bike has low compression for some reason, because it can help to counter the problem and keep your dirt bike running smoothly. You will need an adjustable gap spark plug to adjust the compression on your dirt bike. To do this, first, disconnect the spark plug from the engine. Then, you need to find a flat surface so that you can work on your dirt bike's compression properly. You might have to unscrew something else as well. Ask an expert if you're not sure about this part of it. Things to keep in mind when adjusting your dirt bike's compression. There are a few things that you need to remember when adjusting the compression on your dirt bike. Number 1. You must know what level of compression your bike must have. This is very crucial because if you go too low, your dirt bike will not run, and if you go too high, your piston will get destroyed. You can ask a professional to help you with this part of it. Here are some figures you can check. Some of them are found in the owner's manual. Number 2. Check the flywheel's weight. A heavy flywheel means higher compression, and a light one means lower compression. This is why you need to know what level of compression your dirt bike should have when you adjust the spark plug. Number 3. Keep the engine level so gravity can do its job properly. If you turn your dirt bike upside down, for example, that will change the compression setting on your piston. This is why it's important that everything is kept even when adjusting the compression on your dirt bike. After you're done adjusting the compression on your dirt bike, you'll need to put everything back together. The last thing you want is for your dirt bike's performance to drop because of shoddy work. This final part of it all should only take about 30 minutes maximum. Just make sure that all of the parts are connected properly and that nothing is damaged. If you don't know how to do this, then ask an expert. My final thoughts. Like I explained at the start, you need to check your dirt bike's compression if it has low compression. This is because there are a lot of different problems that might increase with low compression, and these could destroy your bike if they're not dealt with quickly. That's why it's important for you to be aware of all the symptoms, so you can deal with them before they become worse or cause further damage to your dirt bike. If you need help figuring out what the problem is, then ask an expert. Don't try to fix it yourself, because this will only make things worse. Once you have figured out how to adjust the compression on your dirt bike properly, take care of it properly so that everything will stay in good working order.